this thing. It's like the sun. I want it to heat up. Let's go up a bit. Trying to adjust this setup. Ooh, setup okay. Yep, it is. Still trying to find the right setup for it. Okay, here we go. We're starting. Hi, welcome to my life. In this life, I'll be showing you how I sew a dress completely from scratch. 15. And then I need 6 for the collar. Let's see. Carry my baby over there. Come and see my mother. Must see my mother. So I'm trying to draft the pockets and get my pocket shape. I'm not going to, cut it. Okay. Oh, the sun is it's crazy. So we're having 7.5. I'm okay with that. Width and 9 inches. That's fine. 9 inches and 7.5 is actually very okay for me. So I'm just going to trim it. Okay. I'm sewing a pocket. I'm trying to cut a pocket here, okay? And slice that open. I'll place this on another fabric and then cut. And that will be my pockets. Alright. Also remember that we are going to take out the collar. Okay, so I'll be using this one for the collar. So I don't want to really waste the fabric here because I'll be using it for collar. Let me check that out. 14. I'll have to join it here at this point. Baby, baby, come my baby again. Just to see my mother. I'm trying to see what's left of the fabric, so I will then know what I'm going to use for the collar and the pockets, since we've already drafted the main bodies already. Okay, so I'm trying to measure the neck. After the finished neckline, after I measured it, was 18.5. I'm going to be adding 1 inch to that, so I need 2 inches to that, so I need around 20.5. Okay, so I have 22 here, which is actually very okay for me. So I'm just going to cut at that point. All right, I'll cut at that point, and I'll be using this part for my collar much later when I need to draft the collar. So this piece here is for my collar, and I'll be drafting the collar and the collar stand much later for this dress. So we'll set this piece aside and use the other one for the pocket. I'm just going to place this one that I've already gotten, which is the pocket, and then shaping that out. All right. And that's that for this one. So cut it out as much. It's pocket, so it's contrasting. The lines are contrasting, but it is pocket, so I'm just going to have to use it as we steal. All right. So let's go and sew the pockets. Phew, there was one underneath that wasn't the main. I didn't have the pocket shape. Let me see if I can get a fabric that I can manage. I need to manage the fabric. It's not enough. I'm working with 2 yards here. 2 yards of this fabric is what I was working with. So I'll place that here and cut it out as the second piece of the pocket. Okay. We're done with that. Let's see what we have. That's what we have. I'm just going to check the pocket opening, the part that I should use as the pocket opening. I will check that. The length we have here is 9 inches. Okay, that's the length for the pocket, is 9 inches. Thank you for the like. Now 9 inches. The pocket opening here is 8.5. okay, 8.5, but we'll be working with 7 inches for the pocket opening. So let's begin sewing. Remember that while drafting we added a little excess to these. I don't know if you remember while we're drafting. So this is the inside, the wrong side. I'm just going to fold this in like so. Looking for how to attach my pockets. This is the waistline of the dress. Let me raise it up so you can see. This is the waistline where we put the elastic earlier. I'm going to come down there by 1.5 inch. That will be where my pocket will start, and then it will end at 7 inches, somewhere around here. All right, let's do that quickly. So I'll start closing it from the armhole, taking in 1 inch. While we're drafting, it was 1 inch we left as the seam allowance. So let's take that out, mark that out before you sew it. Okay, so you know exactly where you're sewing on, particularly if you're a beginner. So I'm taking in my 1 inch at this point, using my pencil to mark that out, or you can use your tailor's chalk if you have. Align that and make sure that it is aligned, and then sew on the 1 inch mark. I'll advise that you keep measuring as you go so that you don't sew wrongly, okay? So you don't make a mistake and taking in more seam allowance than you already have, because that was what while we're drafting it was just 1 inch seam allowance that we left. Okay, for the seam it was just 1 inch. So you don't go sew more than on 1 inch point. I'll advise that you mark with a pencil or with a tailor's chalk. All right, let's do that. So that's going to serve as a guideline. Now that we have our guideline, align it, make sure that the fabric underneath is smooth, and then run your stitch. When you get to the elastic point, pull it, stretch out the elastic before you sew on it. When you get to this waist area, stretch out your elastic before you sew on it, okay? So I'm just going to do that right now. I'd already pinned it down to ensure that it aligns. The elastic casing lines align. I'm going to align that right now because I do not want a situation where it's not aligning on the right side. It will not give the finishing, it won't give a very neat finishing. So please align it, ensure that it is starting on the same line, that they are matching. Align the elastic casing, okay? Once you have aligned that, pin it down. Pin it down. Then you stretch your elastic before you measure your 1 inch seam allowance. All right, let's do that. I've measured mine and I have stretched it. I've also aligned it. So I'm now going to sew. Even as I sew, I will still be looking to be sure that it is well aligned. Okay? Yeah. Now that that's done, we're just going to sew all the way. Take the excess allowance that we have here, measure that. I have 2 inches as excess plus the 1 inch main seam allowance, that's 3 inches. Let me take my phone away from the sun. I hope you still can see. Bend it this way. Yeah. Then that's 3 inches. That means that I'll be taking 3 inches on this point. So let's take 3 inches. Remember that we already said I want to come down from the elastic casing by 1.5 inch before we begin to open them to leave our pocket opening. So I'm going to just measure 1.5 inch downwards from the waistline. After that, I will then measure an excess 2 inches that we left here on the waistline. And then of course we have our 1 inch, original 1 inch, which was our inches. So I've just 3 inches here and then sew. So let's go. That's what we're stopping for the pocket opening. I'm going to back stitch at that point, and of course after back stitching I'm just going to skip to the 7 inches pocket opening that were opened. Remember, we left 7 inches for our pocket opening. Align this fabric properly, please. If it's possible, pin yours down. All right, pin yours down. Okay. On this 7 inches point, the 2 inches seam allowance that we first left on the waistline, the excess, plus the original 1 inch allowance that we left while we were drafting it, it then makes it 3 inches. Mark your 3 inches on that point because that's where you'll be sewing at. Okay, so that is the 7 inches point now. We then move. We go and then we begin to stitch on the 3 inches point that we have marked. Back stitch, lock your stitches, and then run it all the way down. Measuring your 3 inches as you go. Okay, don't forget that, please. Measure your 3 inches as you go. Inches as you align your fabric. Use the same ripper much later. Even I go. Let's check to see to align. All right, calm down. Excuse me. Take your 1 inch. Your tailor's chalk or with your, because it's in my area. It's very in my area. It's very pigmented. Okay, very pigmented. Okay, and usually doesn't come off like that. And usually doesn't come off like that. Repeat the same thing I did on the other side. All right, calm down here. I have the excess of what do I have here now? It will then be 2 inches. Okay, I'm just gonna stretch my elastic like I did on the other side before sewing on the seam allowance. Stretch the elastic out, measure the 2 inches, and then mark it and sew. Now that we're done, we'll come down for the pocket opening. I'll lift this presser foot up. Pocket opening, I would measure 1.5 inches downward this way. Go in there by 2 inches. And then measure 7 inches for the pocket opening. 7 inches is for my pocket opening, like so. On that point, come in by 2 inches as my seam allowance. All right. Phew. That didn't go well. She wants me to end this life now and come and call her. So back stitch on that point. Raise your presser foot up, skip stitching, and then move down to the 7 inches point. Okay, this is the 7 inches that we left for pocket opening. Snip this thread, yeah, and at the back as well. Okay, align the fabric, come down again and continue your stitching right here. Oh, my seams are giving me for cut seams. I'm just going to cut that out. Okay, let me thread this machine again. All right, let's continue. I'll thread the machine. So that's where the 7 inches from stops for the pockets. I'm just going to continue sewing. I'll stitch it down. Just keep taking my 2 inches seam allowance as I go. All right, mark that point and then sew down. If you need to, please pin your fabric as you walk. Okay. Oh, thank you. your girlfriend? Look at this man. Hi, how are you? Welcome to my life. So you measure your 2 inches and then you sew it down. Ensure that you're marking as you go, alright? How are you, blood? How are you? How are you today? So measure your 2 inches as you go, alright? That's what is going to give you that straight stitch, and you will not make any mistake. Any mistake. If you are a beginner, you should do this. Bullard, I was asking if you're fine today. You did not answer me. You're busy love bombing me there. Eh? Thank you, Bullard. Thank you. So you take the 2 inches and just keep going. That's it. Somebody said very smart. Who's that person? Oh, Bullard, you're still the same person. Thank you very much. So take your 2 inches as you go that way, all right? All right, now we're done with that. Snip it. I'm teaching you a beginner's friendly way. We're still going to have slits on this, but for now we're closing it first, okay? Because it's usually easier to get slits that way. We're closing it first. Remove the pins. Snip some of the thread that you haven't already. Cut them. That's what ensures your neat finishing. Okay, then later you can either do a French twist, fold it and sew again. You can use a French stitching this way, sew it twice, or you just go and then weave it with your weaving machine. Okay, that said, I'm going to then come up here by 10 inches for my slit opening. Okay, there will be a slit on this dress. Like I said, this is actually a smarter way to get a neater fabric. So I'm just going to go up here by 12. Let's do 12 inches for this slit. Remember that we've already closed it here, right? So we're going to do 12 inches for it. That's the way. That's where the 12 inches is going to stop, and then we'll go to the other side. We're not going on this 12 inches point, we're just going to stitch it, double stitch, okay? All right. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Measure 12 inches upward from the hem. Back stitch a lot of times at that point, because this fabric is a very weak fabric. It's not a weighty fabric, it's a very light fabric, okay? So please back stitch a lot of times at that point. All right, we're done. We'll then bring it out, snip the thread. This is how you ensure neat finishing for your projects, whatever it is that you're working on. What I'm now going to do next, this is the point where we are back stitched. Then this one, I'm just going to use the seam ripper to be gentle with it and then loosen it with your seam ripper. Flip it to the other side and just snip the threads open. Okay, use your seam ripper, all right? Then gently go. However way you know how to do it that way, okay? So I'm just going to be very gentle with it. This fabric is a very fragile fabric, please. When you're working with it, be very careful. Else you can just suffer it here. Okay. Don't love me. On my side, you can hear me. But you can. These are actually temporary stitches, okay? So we're loosening it now. Be careful while you take yours down. All right, so we've done that. Then we'll do the same thing to the other side as well. At that point where we've determined where our slits would be, and we have backstitched several times. Here's my end point.